London Real empowers me to be a new kind of mayor. A mayor where I can be transparent with you, streaming live on a daily digital basis as I am your mayor of London. Consider that, where you're going to be able to talk to the mayor on a daily basis, give me feedback, tell me how you're feeling, tell me what's going wrong in your communities. I think it's going to be one of our most powerful weapons. I know how to cut a deal. I know how to get the CEO of a major company on the phone and said, guess what? This is a win-win situation. You've been taking a lot of money out of the community. You've been doing business with the community. It's time to give it back in a win-win situation. Empower these youth, reduce knife crime, and create the entrepreneurs of the future. This is a no-brainer, and it's how we plan on completely changing the game when it comes to communities, and it's going to have a massive knock-on effect when it comes to knife crime. And we are asking the mayor that if you disagree with my ideas, if you think some of the data I'm presenting here is wrong, if you don't like my ideas to build 50,000 new homes by Christmas, by the way, Mr. Mayor, that's 4 times the number of houses you built in 5 years, I'm going to do in 5 months. We take action right now. That's my plan. And we're going to be elected on May 6th. On May 7th, we're moving into City Hall and we're going to take action. That's it. Let's go to the polls on May 6th and let's tick that box for Brian Rose, and we're all going to move into City Hall together.
1, 2, 3, listen.
Welcome to the Brian for Mayor Digital Battle Bus. Welcome to Battle Bus Live. I am Brian Rose, and we are live here at the Brian for Mayor Digital Battle Bus today, touring the boroughs of Hackney, of Newham, of Tower Hamlets. We're coming to see you. Super excited to be here on the road. A little bit of a bumpy road, as you can see, but we like that because it shows that this is real and we're with you. Today, I want to talk about some serious issues that London is facing, especially in the boroughs I'm in today, but let's be honest, these are issues all boroughs are facing, and that is this alarming, almost shocking and nightmare proportion we're seeing of knife crime on the streets here in London, and it just goes up and up and up. You can't open a browser or pick up a newspaper and not see the latest horrendous knife crime. It feels unsafe for us to go out on the streets, unsafe for our children, and it's got to be stopped, and someone has to take ownership. In my book, that starts with the mayor of London, but he has considerably never taken ownership, and he doesn't even want to talk about the issue, and I want to talk about it today. The next thing I want to talk about is how we can actually reduce those knife crime figures by investing in our communities. And I have a solution that involves real capital, billions and billions of pounds coming from corporate entities that go right into your community centers and gives our young people options. What do they do from 3:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m.? Right now, a lot of our young people don't have options. It's easy to get involved in bad things, in crime, in gangs. Why not give them the options? I know exactly how to do it. Unfortunately, with your current mayor, he has been defunding community centers for the past 5 years. He's been firing youth center workers. It's unacceptable. I have a plan working with some key people here in London who I've already spoken with, and I want to share with you today about how we can inject much needed capital into these centers and completely change the game of London. And I'm excited to share that with you today. So first of all, again, going through some amazing places here. Tower Hamlets is the home of, guess what? The Tower of London. An incredible history around how this borough actually used to support the Tower with conscripted soldiers, actually. And the Tower of London is an amazing place to go. It's always worth a revisit there when things open up. It's also home to Victoria Park. I'm in Vicky Park probably 3 times a week. I run there, I train there. Yes, I even break dance in Vicky Park. It's an amazing place. It's one of the great parks here in London, and we appreciate you, Tower Hamlets, for hosting that. Also, Canary Wharf, that incredible space with all of the buildings from the skyscrapers, all the banking entities. It's an amazing development out there, and we appreciate Canary Wharf. And of course, it's home to the O2 Arena, or as Drake used to say, turn the O2 until the O3. You know, I appreciate you, Jake. And it's a great arena. I've spent a lot of time at the O2, and it really is a world-class venue, and it shows how London is leading the game. So thank you, Tower Hamlets. Also want to give a shout out to Hackney. Hackney is the home of London Real Studios, which is the media company I set up 10 years ago. We broadcast over 1,000 conversations with the greatest minds on the planet, and we've given them to you and the world for free. 500 million views later. People really credit London Real with changing their lives, sometimes taking their business to the next level. their relationships, their health and fitness, and it's been our home for 10 years. It's also the home to the Silicon Roundabout. Some of the best tech companies in the world come from Hackney, and I've actually interviewed almost 100 of those CEOs on an old show I used to do called Silicon Reel, and I'm a big fan of the tech community with my tech background, and we want to support them as mayor as well. It's also the home of London Fields Lido, and this is an incredible swimming pool, 50 meters long, that I trained at for my Ironman race, and I remember going there in my wetsuit, doing my laps on that pool. And once you go to a 50-meter pool, it's a different game, let me say that. But I'll say one thing about the London Fields Lido. There was actually a warm day where I trained there for my Ironman, where everyone was in the pool. And to be honest, it simulated that moment when you jump in the Ironman race and everyone's literally flailing away and knocking you in the head. And I actually got some good training at the Lido that day. So thank you for that. The canals are there. I run those every single week. And of course, Wally Foster Community Center is in Hackney. I want to give a big shout out to the guys at Wally Foster. They hosted us in November for what I think was our first speaking event. I met incredible people there. I learned a lot from people in the community like Dino Kai, who I spoke to as well. And they honestly, a lot of them didn't know who I was when I got on stage, but at the end of the night, they all wanted to be a part of our vision, and we're super, super grateful for that. And we're going to be coming back to see you very, very soon. Lastly, we're going to be in NEWHAM today. We're heading over to Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park. What an incredible development there. We're actually doing a photo shoot a little bit later to there, so watch for these pictures coming later. Also, NEWHAM is the statue, has the place for the statue of the 1966 World Cup winners. It's this beautiful bronze piece that I was at just weeks ago when I was touring through Barking and Dagenham. It's the home to the Royal Docks, and of course, home to the London City Airport. And I might or might not have done a photo shoot there a week or so ago where I got on the top of the bus. My wife was not very impressed with that, but you'll see the pictures coming out, and yeah, that's not photoshopped. I'm actually standing on top of this bus, and it's a lot higher than it looks, but hey, I do it for you guys, and it was a fun picture, and we appreciate you. So again, thank you for having us in these boroughs, but today I need to talk about some very serious issues, and that is knife crime. You know, London is one of the greatest cities in the world, but you know, our deepest, darkest moment comes when one of our teenagers is stabbed on the streets in this great metropolis where we should have the funding, we should have the politicians, we should have the ideas to prevent this from happening, and yet it continues to happen, and it strikes fear through all of us in our younger generation. We need to talk about that. I also want to talk about how the reason that's happening is because the mayor has systematically defunded our community centers over the past 5 years. And I've done an entire 1-hour show about this. It's on my website under Real Deal, but I'll be talking about those numbers today. Again, I'll share some of them later, but systematically defunded it, fired youth workers, and then he puts his hands up and says, well, I don't know why the knife crime is there. It's about time that he takes responsibility, that we hold him accountable, and I have the solutions to solve both of these issues. I've spoken to senior members in the Metropolitan Police, senior members in the community, and people like Jamal Edwards, the founder of SBTV, who has already secured private funding from both Google and the Wellcome Trust to invest in his own community centers in Acton. I'm talking about Friary Park and some others that he grew up with that he's done an amazing job with, and I want to share with you some of his ideas. But before we get started, I want to hear from you. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm streaming live. I want to answer your questions right here in a transparent way. This is a new way of doing politics, a new way of leading the community where I'm responsible for your questions, and you get to ask me hard questions. So ask me hard questions. Leave them now, whatever platform you're on. First of all, tell me, what borough do you live in, and what's your biggest challenge? And also tell me what's the question that you want to ask me wherever you are in the world. Second of all, tell me, do you think the current levels of daily knife crime on our streets are acceptable? Should the mayor step up and take responsibility for the 15 stabbings and the 2 killings we saw 2 weekends ago, and also the killing of Sven Badzak, the 22-year-old that was out getting orange juice at Waitrose, and now he's dead. We heard his mom talk about that. The question is do you think those levels are acceptable, and do you think the mayor should be held responsible? Next, I want you to answer this question. Do you think it was fair for the mayor to defund community centers and lay off youth workers during his 5-year term and abandon our children? And do you think that independent candidates like us should be banned from campaigning by the police while the mayor is out there right now flaunting the rules by what I call campaigning in disguise, by forcing key workers like nurses and police to participate in his daily photo ops and his conveniently timed press releases. I think this is unacceptable. We are being persecuted by the police for being out here campaigning in a COVID-safe manner, and yet the mayor is out there with his daily photo ops, not with social distancing, out there doing the same thing. I think it's unacceptable, and I want to talk about that more today. Finally, do you think we need new leadership? Do we think we need new vision? And do you think we need new ideas to take London in a new direction? So please leave me your comments. They're literally being beamed to my iPad right now, and I'm going to talk about them later today. Where are we now? Well, we're going through the boroughs right now of Newham and of Tower Hamlets and Hackney, but we're also day 29 on the bus. It's hard to believe we've been on this bus nearly a month. We've logged over 2,000 miles. That means I could have gone from here to Scotland, back to London, back up to Scotland, back down to London, probably with some change left over to head out to Oxford. But we've done it in this city. We've gone to every single one of the 32 boroughs in this city twice, and we're going to keep going until we find out what is on the mind of the voters and how we can make change in this city and take your lives to the next level. We're super proud of what we accomplished here. Now look, it started off a little bumpy, and I'm going to talk about how we were detained, fined, and banned by City of London police officers, but we kept at it, stayed on the road, and it's been a tremendous success. Our website has blown up. 3.5 million unique visitors on our website, brianformayor.london. If you haven't gone yet, go now and check it out. I've got 12 detailed policies. You can volunteer, you can share our assets. Over 850,000 shares of the Brian for Mayor website. And so far, our content has been consumed 1.2 billion times. That's all of the videos of our ideas. That's our social posts. That's everything. So we're super excited. And last week, our volunteer campaign kicked off. And last Wednesday, 2 nights ago, I had the first video call with what I call my inner circle group of Brian for Mayor volunteers. We have a private Facebook group. We meet every night. They're going to be joining me on the campaign trail, joining me on the bus, and joining me for the inauguration party. And we got some big names lined up, and I can neither confirm nor deny if Kanye West will be there, the Rolling Stones, and a bunch of other acts, but it's going to be a big party, and we're excited for everyone to come for that once we become your next mayor of London on May 6th. So we're excited, and we're still out here on the battle bus. Just to take you back, I think it was 27 days ago, on the second day of our campaign. It was a dark night. It was actually just starting to snow. I was at London Bridge Station, and I was walking outside this bus with an umbrella in one hand and an iPhone in the other, and I was recording a video talking to you about the important issues that are on your minds, you know, the issues that your leaders should be talking about. And suddenly I was surrounded by 10 police officers, 5 police vans, and they stopped me, they detained me, they fined me and 4 members of my crew, and they banned me from campaigning. Think about that. They banned me from campaigning. This is supposedly a democratic society where we have free and fair elections. And the video went viral. It's been watched over 1 million times. It's been covered in all of the major news outlets all around the world. And we thought there was something fundamentally wrong with that. To criminalize the political process this close to an election, it felt wrong. It also feels wrong to be surrounded by police officers. But we thought, you know what? This is unacceptable. So we went back to our offices. We got our legal team on the phone, and we drafted a 5-page letter that we sent out to the commissioners of the major police forces here in London. And we said, we believe and we know we are doing this in a 100% COVID secure manner. This bus is sprayed with an antiviral fog every single night. Everyone is temperature checked, social distance with masks. And right now we're using the same protocols that are being used on film sets and television productions right in the City of London. So why can't we campaign? And as I said to the City of London police officer, you've probably seen the video, I said, this feels political. This feels political to me. And I want to say, this is nothing against the police. They have a very difficult job, and I support the police. I want to fund the police for better training. I want more police on the streets, but they are being asked to do something political in my mind, and this goes straight to the mayor's office. They don't want the little guy to have a voice in this next election because they know our ideas are dangerous, because we have the best ideas in the business. And the truth is, the current mayor of London has no ideas. He's failed on crime, he's failed on transport, he's failed on homes, and he's failed on getting London back to work. And that's why I think they find us so dangerous in this message. And that's why we're out here streaming with you. We went back on the road. We were pulled over by the Metropolitan Police, but we kept campaigning. The truth is, we could be arrested right now. And if we are, you're going to watch it live right here on these video feeds. But we're prepared to be arrested, to be even thrown in jail, as long as we preserve democracy and the right for free and fair elections. They must take place on May 6th. So that's what we believe. And we are asking the mayor that if you disagree with my ideas, if you think some of the data I'm presenting here is wrong, if you don't like my ideas to build 50,000 new homes by Christmas, by the way, Mr. Mayor, that's 4 times the number of houses you built in 5 years, I'm gonna do in 5 months. If you don't like my ideas about closing down your low traffic neighborhoods that are literally bankrupting our transport system, if you don't like my ideas about how we can reduce knife crime, then Mr. Mayor, debate me. And I'm asking you right now, Sadiq Khan, when will you debate me? Everyone is asking on social media. Everyone is asking, why are you not debating me? What are you hiding from? What are you scared of? I'm the only person that can beat Sadiq Khan. It's time for this debate, and I'm waiting for the phone call. We will do it anytime, anyhow, anywhere. We can do it on London Real. We can do it on one of his mainstream media outlets of choice, or we can do it right here on Zoom if you want. It's up to you. So we're looking for that, and we appreciate that. Lastly, I want to say one thing. There was a big article that just broke this morning in the Evening Standard, one of the biggest papers in London, that talked about how we have called out the blaring, what is it? It's an inconsistency right now with the laws around campaigning. And what they've done is this. They've said that the little guys, the independent voices like ourselves and some of the smaller parties, are not able to campaign and leaflet the same way that the two-party system is allowed to. And in our view, these laws have been created to allow big funded parties like the Labour Party and the Conservative Party to pay companies to deliver leaflet through people's doors. And yet people like us and people like our friend Neil McAvoy, who's now trying to keep his seat in the Welsh Parliament, are being stopped by police officers. They went to his home on a Sunday night and told him, you're not allowed to leaflet. And he said, well, why not? He said, my competition is leafleting, you're leafleting, private companies are leafleting. Why can't volunteers put a piece of paper through a mailbox in a COVID secure manner? We're asking these same questions here at the Brian for Mayor campaign, because they are unfairly persecuting us. And again, this is political in my opinion, and it means the little guy doesn't have a chance here. And we think that's unfair. That is undemocratic. And it ruins everything that this country is built on. So we appreciate being recognized. You can go read that article right now in the Evening Standard. Please share it with your friends. And let's make sure that we have free and fair elections, which means I can continue talking to you and sharing with you my ideas going forward. So let's talk about some of these local issues that are happening here. Again, we're talking about knife crime and community centers as we speak. But like, we're literally driving through the boroughs of Hackney right now, and Newham, and of course Tower Hamlets. And we need to highlight what's happening in these boroughs, because it's really a sad state of affairs. Hackney has the 4th highest rate of knife crime injury in London, the 4th highest. The latest incident in Hackney happened of a 15-year-old boy. It happened on Brook Road in Upper Clapton on Sunday night, just days ago. It's left the victim in a life-threatening condition. But the thing is, this was only one incident of 3 stabbings that happened in the capital. This was Sunday night. The previous weekend, there were 15 stabbings. Mr. Mayor, when does it stop? When do you take responsibility? He has been silent as all of this has happened. Also, recently, an article said that the London's knife crime hotspots were revealed 16 of the 20 most dangerous places in England when it comes to serious knife crime offenses are where? Right here in London. Right here in London, where the mayor has been watching for the past 5 years. The West End area of Westminster has the highest rate in the country, with 35.5 violent crimes per 1,000 residents. But Haringey, Islington, Hackney, Camden, and Brent also feature very highly. Now look, the mayor and the Met Police Commissioner Cressida Dick said that tackling knife crime in London remained, quote, their #1 priority. And yet what has been achieved since then? Knife crime has gone up every single year they have been in power. Enough is enough, and it hurts us to look at these numbers. And when I was at the Wally Foster Community Center in Hackney, we spoke about this. We need a solution, and the people there said to me, they said, Brian, Khan's doing nothing. Whenever we go down to City Hall, we say, where are the funds that you promised us? And he just goes silent on us. He is not investing in the communities. He is defunding the community centers. He is firing youth center workers, and it's unacceptable, and we hear you. Next, let's look at some of the numbers in Newham. In 2018, Newham was found to be the borough with the highest murder rate in the capital. I mean, this is really, it's hard for me to read some of these numbers. Newham is among the least safe boroughs in London, an average crime rate of 120 crimes per 1,000 people, which is higher than the London average and nearly double the national average. Right here in Newham. It's something that it should enrage the residents. And if you're angry and you're in Newham, then I understand. My question to you is, do you want 3 more years of this? That's what you're going to get if you make the massive mistake of re-electing Sadiq Khan. And again, more news articles here. Less than 6 weeks ago, the borough saw another fatal stabbing as a 28-year-old man tragically lost his life in Newham. And again, it's not hard to find this stuff. You Google knife crime and put in a borough, and there's literally a list of 20 or 30 articles, most of them in the past few days and the past few weeks. You know, enough is enough, Mr. Mayor. You have to do something about that. And it continues into Tower Hamlets. Just weeks ago, 5 people were stabbed in 24 hours in violence that happened right in Tower Hamlets. And if you look at the map, it shows that it's one of the most dangerous boroughs in London in 2020. So again, enough is enough, and I want to hear from you. What do you think about this? First of all, tell me, what borough do you live in? What is the biggest challenge you face? And what's the question you want to ask me? This is the big question I want to know. Do you think the current levels of daily knife crime on our streets are acceptable? Are they? Should the mayor step up and take responsibility for the 15 stabbings and the 2 killings that happened in London just weeks ago, and also for the murder of 22-year-old Sven Badzak? You know, his mother is still grieving when he was out to get orange juice. Our children are dying in the streets. What will you do about it, Mr. Mayor? I want to hear your thoughts. Next, do you think it was fair for the mayor to defund these community centers and lay off youth workers when we need them so much right now? And do you think that independent candidates like us should be banned from campaigning by the police when the mayor is out there flaunting the rules with his, I call it, campaigning in disguise, as he forces key workers to meet with him in an unsocially distanced manner as he goes out there for his PR opportunities and his shots that he puts on Instagram? He is campaigning, but he is preventing the little guy to do it. Do you think that is fair? And finally, do you think it's time for new leadership, new ideas, and to take London in a new direction? So leave me your comments here. They're coming through now on lots of social platforms. Wow, a lot of comments coming in here. I really appreciate that. Again, leave me a comment now. Share this video right now if someone needs to see it. Share it on your social media. Send it to your email list. Share it with your WhatsApp group and say, you know what? Maybe this guy Brian has some ideas we need to talk about. So great things coming in here. I got Cameron Taylor on Instagram and says, all right, Brian, hope as well. I'm 16 from Hull. Worried about a lot of the things, but hopefully we're out soon. If I was a Londoner, I'd give you my vote. Thank you so much, Cameron. I appreciate you. I got Airborne Sean on Instagram and says, Brian, we need to get out of this lockdown. We need to support small businesses in London, especially gyms, and I agree with you. One of my key policies is get London back to work. We need a roadmap out of this. Our politicians are not providing that to us right now. It's still more fear. We have not seen any concrete steps for our entrepreneurs and our businesses to come out of lockdown. Why? Why, Boris Johnson? Why, Mr. Mayor, have you not told our businesses when they can get back up and working? This is crucial to our capital coming back as well. Got some comments from our website. And by the way, you can go to brianformayor.london and leave a comment right now for me, and I'll read it out on these. I got Adam Hilley from Havering. Thank you, Adam. We were in Havering just a week or so ago. Says, quote, I hope you are okay over the police heavy-handed behavior recently. Will you reverse police station closures that have occurred during the Johnson and Khan administrations? We need to end all of the lockdowns and restrictions. So, Adam, it's a great question. And again, I've been speaking recently with senior members in the Metropolitan Police, and they've all told me pretty much the same thing. They said, Brian, we need more police on the streets. We need better trained police. And I agree with that. And that's my plan as the next mayor of London. But we also need more solutions. We need to cut out the red tape for police. We need to digitize the police, which will mean that they can be more effective. But we also need to go ahead and invest in the community centers, and I have the way to pay for it. You know, a lot of people talk about these things. I have ways to pay for all of my policies, and I'm going to talk about that in the last part of my broadcast today. So thank you so much for that. I got Sandra Dorking from Hackney. We probably just drove right by us, Sandra. She says via the website, what reason did the police say you had not complied with campaigning? This cannot be lawful. And it's a great question, Sandra. You know, they said you're canvassing. We weren't canvassing. I was literally walking down the street alone, talking to a camera. My bus was COVID secure. And so this was clearly a political move. They told us they had been watching us for 48 hours. They had been on our website. They had been watching my videos. And then they came that day to shut us down. Strangely enough, we were back out on the road the next day with a 5-page legal letter, and we have continued ever since. So this was clearly political. They thought they could intimidate us, but they picked the wrong person to try to intimidate. We don't scare easy. We believe in democracy. We believe in our ideas. And our legal team proved that to be true. And we've been out here campaigning ever since then for 27 days. So thank you so much. I got John Jenkins on the website, says, "Hey, Brian, are you and your team coming to Barnet? Would love to meet you in High Barnet. I'm a good friend of Tim Sheaf, who you've had on the show. Yes, we know Tim. Best wishes for the campaign and look forward to you becoming our next mayor of London. Peace and love, Johnny." Thank you, Johnny. Yes, we were actually in Barnet about 2 weeks ago. We were also in Barnet this week. And I'm coming back to Barnet. The truth is the bus is just going to keep on going. So I'd love to meet with you. And John's referring to Tim. Tim is one of 1,000 guests I've had on my show, London Real. And if you don't know it, just type in London Real to YouTube and you'll see me having long-form conversations that we broadcast for free with over 1,000 incredible people all around the world. And we do it because this is our way of serving the community and helping people get to their lives to the next level, whether it comes to their businesses, their emotions, their mental health, their physical health. And that's what we plan on doing as the next mayor of London as well. So thank you, Johnny. I appreciate that. A couple more comments, and then I want to talk about knife crime. I've got Black Letter Barrister on Instagram says, "How can we make London more accessible? It's so hard for anyone to drive through London anymore." And it's a great point that you make. I was in Ealing about 2 weeks ago, and basically it felt like the entire community came out on the street and, in a socially distanced way, were yelling at me saying, "Brian, these low traffic neighborhoods are killing our neighborhood," quite literally killing it. They say ambulances can't get access to save lives. They say there's no traffic and businesses are going bankrupt. They say, one of the men said, "I can't visit my family because of these barricades. I'm getting fines just to try to drive through this neighborhood. And guess what? I'm actually driving more miles. Emissions are up at the same time." And so we've looked what the mayor has done. He's increased your congestion charge. He's extended it. He's put in these LTNs. He's raising millions of pounds from boroughs in a time of economic recession in order to pay for his bankrupt transportation system. I think that's totally unacceptable. And a gentleman named Mark in Ealing, you'll probably see a video of him soon, he was visibly agitated, and for good reason. And again, as I told Mark in the beginning of this video, I said, "Mark, I haven't been elected mayor yet, so I can't solve these problems yet, but I know how to solve these problems." And he said, "Brian, I know," I said, "I appreciate you trying to solve these problems, but I'm so angry because no one's listening to us, and these things affect my life every single day." And so he was right to be upset, and I appreciate him talking to me that day, and it meant a lot to me. So yes, we've got to get London moving, and it means getting rid of this ridiculous street space scheme the mayor came up with that was just ruled illegal in the High Court, saying that he rushed it through during the pandemic. And yet he's appealing this, and in the meantime, handicapped people can't even get picked up by taxi cab drivers on Bishopsgate. It's all ridiculous, and we appreciate all your frustrations. A couple other points I got. Dom Lynch on Instagram says, "What do you feel about Sadiq saying the election is a two-horse race between Labour and Tory?" That's very funny, Dom, that you saw that. And so recently the current mayor said there's only two candidates in this race, him and guess what? The other major party, right? And it's very funny because clearly, if you go to every single bookmaker in London, and if you have for the past 2 months, we are clearly the second candidate for every single betting odds maker there is. We've also been out there talking about our policies forever, and literally, you can see us everywhere. So for the mayor to say that statement, I think it tells us exactly what he's thinking, which is this. His plan is to prohibit us from campaigning. And we saw that happen when the police arrested me. We saw this happen with these rules that favor the big parties and punish the little guy. And so it's funny when he says that, because that's probably why he's also running away from the debate with me as well, because he knows that we can beat him. And he still doesn't see what I see when I see your comments here, when I see you on the streets, when I see your support. So the mayor is up for a very serious upset on May 6th, and I appreciate you seeing that, Tom. This is a two-horse race. It's between us and Khan. I think it favors us right now, and we're going to see what happens on May 6th. So thank you for that. We got Kieran Roberts on how are you addressing crime in London. I want to talk about that shortly. I've got Kathy Loves Horses and Paint on Instagram says, yes, we need you to invest in youth clubs. My local tennis club has gone, and we will be doing that. And I've got INE007 on YouTube says, thank you for supporting the youth and community. And I'll be talking about that shortly. I appreciate you. And Free Spirits on Instagram says, you would be the perfect mayor for London. Thank you so much. We believe that as well. And I want to talk about my next points here. And that's talking about knife crime. And again, this is something that's hard to talk about. And I know it's not always the most pleasant thing to talk about. But we've got to be serious about what's actually happening right now. And let's talk about this, because our current mayor of London has failed our communities, and he's failed our younger generations. Youth crime is up with a shocking rise for every single year the mayor has been in office right now. And the current mayor, months ago, recorded his 100th murdered teenager on his watch. Just think of that, 100 teenagers now dead because of the current mayor and his refusal to take ownership and solve this problem of knife crime that's been on his radar for 5 years. Youth reoffending rates have increased 10% in London, up from just under 33% in 2006 to 43%. That's currently double that of England and Wales. And between 2012 and 2017, the number of under 25s who were killed doubled, increasing year on year since 2014. Last year, there were 135 killings in London. 30% of those crimes were committed by young people that involved violence. The truth is this, and senior police have told me this. They've said, Brian, you can't police your way out of this problem. You can't just put more police on the streets and expect our teenagers to stop stabbing each other. It starts closer to home. It starts with investing in our community centers and giving our young people something else to do. And this is, again, where the mayor has continually failed. And let's look back to 2016, another year where he was campaigning, trying to get your vote, more with his empty promises like we hear them now. And he said back in 2016, and I quote, he pledged to, quote, invest in and protect youth services in London right now and, quote, make London safer by restoring neighborhood policing, tackling gangs, and knife crime, unquote. Instead, as we've seen, he's cut spending, he's closed our youth centers, and he's creating a lost generation with knife crime spiking at nightmare proportions. And again, if we look into it, youth service budgets were cut by 46% between 2012 and 2019, and an even larger funding cut is being implemented this year. And if we go into the numbers a bit more, since 2011, London has lost at least 100 youth centers. This is a big deal. And I've been talking to a lot of guests of mine and friends of mine like David Hay, who's been talking about the local boxing gym being closed, and I want to talk about that shortly. But the number of youth centers has fallen from 234 to 130 last year. That's a net loss of over 100 sites. That's more than 560 youth workers have lost their jobs. That's also coincided with a rise in youth violence. Overall spending on youth services has now been cut by 46% since 2011, with 29 London councils having cut a combined £26.3 million and projections of more cuts to come. The truth is this, our current mayor, he doesn't care about our communities. Our current mayor doesn't care about our children. Our current mayor never intended to keep his promises, and mark my words, he doesn't intend to keep the promises he's giving you right now in 2021. How can we believe anything Sadiq Khan says? How can we believe it? This is our future, and we must take ownership. On May 6th, unless you choose someone different, you're going to have 3 more years of Sadiq Khan. But you can actually fire him on May 6th by choosing an independent voice, and that's what we want to encourage you to do. And we believe we have the ideas to take London to the next level. Now, I want to hear your thoughts, because again, this is a new way of leadership and a new way of politics. When I become your next mayor, my channels are open. I've got 5 million subscribers right now. I've got 500 million views. I'm live right now on most social media platforms. You can ask me a question, and this continues when I move to City Hall. Tell me right now, what borough do you live in? What's the challenge you're facing? What's the question you want to ask me? Next, tell me, do you think these current levels of daily knife crime are acceptable? Over 15 stabbings in a 3-day period recently, 2 killings in London, including the death of Sven Badzak, 22 years old, out getting orange juice at Waitrose. Is that acceptable? Children are dying. Should the mayor be held responsible? Next, do you think it's fair that the mayor defunds community centers and fires youth workers, especially when knife crime is going up? He's abandoning our children. Next, do you think it's fair that independent candidates like us get fined, banned, detained on the streets for campaigning? Do you think that's fair? Do you think it's fair for them to stop me allowing volunteers like you to go out there and deliver leaflets, and yet they allow a private company funded by Labor or Tory to go ahead and deliver the same leaflets inside doors? We don't think that's right, and that's the article I'm referring that's covered by the Evening Standard right now. I also don't think it's fair, and I want to hear what you think, that the mayor is out there what I call campaigning in disguise right now, flaunting these same rules he's using to ban us with his convenient photo opportunities with key workers in an unsocially distanced manner. You know what I'm talking about. You've seen him out there parading around with police, with his sudden increase in police budgets 2 months before an election. Where was that money, Mr. Mayor, when knife crime was going up for the past 5 years? You see it when he's out there with nurses. Again, all campaigning in disguise. How is that fair? And yet I'm being detained and banned and fined for campaigning here. And finally, do you think we need new leadership and to take London in a new direction? I want to go to your thoughts right now. And again, put your comments in there. They're all coming in here. And man, my eyes just went like this because they're all filing in here. I appreciate you. They're coming on Instagram. They're coming on YouTube. They're coming in all these platforms. Endless Summer on Instagram says, will London Real still continue if you're the mayor? Great question. And on a similar theme, Arc Iron on Instagram says, will you keep the interviews coming on London Real when you are the mayor? And it's a great question, and a little bit of context if you're new to this whole campaign. I've been running a show called London Real for the past 10 years. Like I said, I've had long-form interviews with people sitting in my leather chair in my studio in Shoreditch, and we've beamed them out to over 500,000 people around the world. And I thought about this a long time, and I've come to this conclusion. And by the way, we're going by Westfield Shopping Center right now. We're right by the Olympic Park, and you know it's great to be in these boroughs. I love coming through all of these areas, you know, where Hackney meets Newham meets Tower Hamlets. I love this area. This is where I used to take my daughter Gabby when she was just a kid, and then we used to go here. We'd go to the mall. We'd get clothes for mom. We would play a little chess. So I love this area around here. And this question about does London Real continue? That's a great question. I think London Real empowers me to be a new kind of mayor. A mayor where I can be transparent with you, streaming live on a daily digital basis as I am your mayor of London. Consider that, where you're going to be able to talk to the mayor on a daily basis, give me feedback, tell me how you're feeling, tell me what's going wrong in your communities. I think it's going to be one of our most powerful weapons. That, our independence, our transparency, and the fact that we're not part of the two-party system. I don't have to check with party headquarters before I say something. I don't have to check with a corporate donor to see if I'm saying something wrong before I say something. I don't have to check with some backroom deal or something some other MP said, or some, you know, dodgy mayor in the country that's being arrested right now. I don't have to do that. I can put the best ideas forward, and that's what I plan on doing as your next mayor of London. So thank you for that question. Opportunity Access on Instagram says, do you think there are enough opportunities for young people? Quite frankly, no. And the reason is because our current mayor of London has defunded these community centers. I think we could have community centers that promote entrepreneurship, that promote physical activity for our young people, promote cooking, promote music production, promote all of these things. But we need to empower those community centers with money, with influencers, and with communication, and I want to talk about that next. So great question, and we definitely can be doing more. We got Chimpan Jesus on Instagram. It's a great handle. Says, you have a few empty seats on your bus. Would you consider picking up some folk for some real face-to-face talk? I would love to. This bus was designed to have people on it, but right now we, of course, are respecting the COVID regulations, and we're not doing that right now. As soon as things open up, trust me, we'll be having people on here, and we'll be coming and opening this bus out to the neighborhoods near you. So great question. Life Down Under on Instagram says, simply future mayor of London. Thank you very much. I got Trevor Berry on YouTube that says, thanks for London Real. You helped me to connect to Dan Pena and driven myself further towards my goals. And thanks so much. I hope you get to be the mayor. Thank you so much as well. I mean, we've really changed millions of people's lives with London Real. And as your next mayor of London, I plan on changing millions more lives. And that's why we're doing this here, because it's our most effective way of serving the community. I've been serving the community for 10 years. And this is just an extension of the work we've done at London Real. And we appreciate you for noticing. I've got a few other things here. I've got Sick Lid on YouTube says, you're an American. How are you running for mayor of London? It's a great question. That's a great question. And thank you for asking me. A lot of people have said, your accent sounds a little strange. And it's true, I was born in California, and I came to London 21 years ago. I've been a citizen of Britain for 14 years. My children were born here. My business was here. I spent 10 years working in the city of London. I love this city so much, I named my show after it, called London Real. And quite honestly, I plan on being buried in this city. I love it so much. This city has given me everything. And that's why I couldn't sit idly by and watch this current crop of politicians run the city I love into the ground. And let's be honest, that's what's happening right now. They are running our city into the ground. Type yes in the chat if you agree with me right now, or give me a thumbs up. They are ruining this city. There is no roadmap out of this lockdown. They are allowing our children to be knifed to death in the streets. They are not building affordable housing, and they are bankrupting our transportation system. So I thought to myself, guess what? I'm going to put my business on hold, my personal life on hold, my family life on hold for the next few years to put this city in the right direction. It's the least I can do to repay this city for everything it's given to me. So you're right. But the truth is that London has been combined with people from all over the world for the last few thousands of years. From the Romans who came here to set up shop originally and built these incredible roads, to the Vikings that came here, to all the incredible people from Europe. This has been a melting pot, and it's always been stronger because of it, and I look forward to adding to that strength as well. So yes, that's what we're going to do. And we appreciate you for noticing as well. A couple more here. Anthony Barr on Instagram says, Brian for London Mayor, thank you. Steph says, man, that suit is straight pimping. Steph, I appreciate that. And I guess that shows that I'm literally reading these comments out live because nothing is edited here, and I appreciate that. So thank you, Steph. You know what? I didn't wear a suit for many years. I was Mr. Casual. I used to wear skateboard shirts and combat boots. That was my look. And then at one point, I kind of became a leader. And it was important for me to dress up every day and let people know that I'm here to move things forward. And so now this is part of my way of getting ready for the world and showing the world that I'm here to make a difference every day. So, it's not about the suit. The suit allows me to do many more things, but thank you for noticing. I appreciate that. And thank you to John Kent, my incredible tailor, a small businessman who we are supporting right now during this lockdown. In order to make sure he survives this, we've got to support our small businesses. And if you want a great suit, go see John Kent. Both I and the Duke of Edinburgh agree he makes the best suits in the world. And thank you, John. We appreciate you. I got Village Cooking on YouTube that says, by the way, you will not find one taxi driver from Uber, Bolt, or any other who will vote for the mayor. And I've heard this quite a bit. I've heard that all of our taxi drivers, from Uber to all the black cab drivers I ride home with every night, none of them believe the mayor is acting in their interest. They believe he acts on his own agenda. He's trying to continue his own political career. He's done it for 18 years. He wants Boris's job next, and you can see everything he does is about his next job, his career. It's not about us, these citizens, and we get left out in the cold. Our children suffer, our communities suffer, and that's not acceptable. So I appreciate you noticing that as well. A couple more here, and then I'm going to go back to our final point. I got Jacob McDonald on YouTube that says, what's up, Big B? Keep those head spins going, my G. All right, I appreciate you, Jacob. He's referring to my breakdancing. The truth is, I do a physical practice every day. It's important to invest in our health, especially when these times are hard. It's important for my mental health, and so I try to publish my views, my videos of me punching bags when I do my boxing practice, my breakdancing practice. I run, I do yoga, I do hand balancing, and I want to get London more physical because I think it's going to help us get to the next level. So thank you for noticing. I appreciate that. I got Wowie Fontanos on YouTube that says, love you, Brian, with you all the way. Couple more here. I got Solo7 on YouTube that says, you can do it, Brian. Get Con out. Brian, the new mayor of London. Thank you, Solo. I hear this all the time for the streets. And trust me, the mayor is going to have a big surprise coming in the next couple months because they are massively underestimating you right now. The current mayor is underestimating you. He thinks he's got your vote in his back pocket. Why? Because your parents voted for his party and your grandparents voted for his party. So he thinks he's got London locked up, which is why he's not out on the road campaigning. He would never answer questions live for you. He doesn't even read his social media feeds because it's a lot of hate going on there every time I check. The truth is that he's going to have a big wake-up call when he realizes how much support there is for people like you in the streets, for our ideas and our policies, and we plan on taking London to the next level, and we're all going to move into City Hall together. So thank you. Lastly, I got Chris on YouTube that says, good luck, Brian. I don't follow politics much, but you have done a lot of good things I've seen on London Real, and I hope that you do well. And Chris, we appreciate you. We want to move ideas forward. Let me get to my final point that I want to make before we finish up here, and let me tell you about my solution to our community crisis, and it's simple. We take action right now. That's my plan. And we're going to be elected on May 6th. On May 7th, we're moving into City Hall, and we're going to take action. That's it. We're taking action. And this is how I want to do it. I want to do it by investing in our communities. And I understand a lot about communities. And I was once told by a mentor of mine that said, Brian, if you change a child, you can change your community. And I went on to do some volunteer work for one of our boroughs here and spent time mentoring a young boy for a year, and I really got to see how community works on the ground. When you invest in our younger generation, it pays back tenfold, sometimes 100-fold. And so I understood how it works, and it requires 5 things. And pay attention to me, write these down if you want as well. It requires 5 things to create great community. First of all, you have to identify people who want to help, like me, when it came to me doing the mentoring, like people like Jamal Edwards, who I'll speak about shortly, who's done great work funding his community centers. People like David Hay, who want to help get these boxing gyms back up. He's from Bermondsey as well. Next, you need people that need help. That's our children in our communities, other people, moms, grandmothers, other people, men as well, that just need help in the community centers. 3, you need infrastructure or a location or a system of processes put in place to enable this to happen. 4th, you need cash. This is really important. You need money. And I've been told by our friends out at Wally Foster Community Center, every time they go to see the mayor and ask him where the money is, he goes silent because he doesn't give them the money they need. And I have a solution for that. And finally, 5th part, you need communication. You need some way of letting these people know what's happening. And I want to talk about all 5 of those things because I know those 5 things really, really well. And so it's all about bringing those people together through those tools. And again, we've got people out there that want to help. We've got people out there that need help. We have some community infrastructures in place right now, like places like Wally Foster, like places like Friary Park out in Acton that Jamal Edwards supports. But we need more. We need more of that infrastructure, and we need more investments. We need cash, and I want to talk about that shortly, and we need communications. And I bring that through all of my digital platforms as well. And like I said, I was speaking recently with David Hay, who's currently enjoying himself down in Costa Rica. Big shout out to David. But he was in London Real World headquarters a couple months ago, and he said, Brian, he said, I see them closing these boxing gyms down. He said, I know what it's like to be a young man. You're full of all this energy and sometimes anger. You got to get it out. He said, this is only going to lead to crime unless we can find a way to reopen these boxing gyms and community centers. And David said, Brian, I want to help you. And I was having similar conversations with Jamal Edwards, and Jamal is an incredible young man. He founded the SBTV YouTube channel. He's a fellow YouTuber and built it up into an incredible media empire that supports hip hop and grime music. You know, he put people like Ed Sheridan on the map. I mean, he really broke a lot of great grime artists back in the day. And he also found an incredible and innovative solution to take private funding from private companies and pump it into community centers. And Jamal was recently, a couple years ago in Acton, and he noticed that one of his local community centers was closed down. And he said, what's going on here? That's the community center that taught me how to do music and video. If it wasn't for that, I don't know where I'd be, but I sure wouldn't be probably the founder of the multi-million-pound valued SBTV. And so he looked into it and he said, I can find a way to get corporates to write checks to invest in these community centers. And I was actually just speaking with Jamal a couple days ago and asking him, Jamal, how can we take this to the next level? How can we reach out to companies like Amazon and Uber and Barclays and HSBC and pool tens of billions of pounds and then inject it in an accountable and a responsible way into the hundreds of community centers in the 32 boroughs of London that need our help? This is the wave of the future of investing in our community centers. And this way, we don't get the excuse from the mayor when he says they have no money left, even though we know that's not true. We take the money and we inject it directly from these corporates. I know how to cut a deal. I know how to get the phone of the CEO of a major company on the phone and said, guess what? This is a win-win situation. You've been taking a lot of money out of the community. You've been doing business with the community. It's time to give it back in a win-win situation, empower these youth, reduce knife crime, and create the entrepreneurs of the future. This is a no-brainer, and it's how we plan on completely changing the game when it comes to communities, and it's going to have a massive knock-on effect when it comes to knife crime. And so I look forward to working with Jamal Edwards and building more of these corporate-funded community centers. They are going to be a game changer. It's going to require infrastructure. We know where the cash is going to come from. I'm going to provide the communications, and then we're going to need your help identifying the people and the children and the young people that need our help in the communities, and the mothers as well, and all of the people, and the people that can help them as well, the mentors and the community leaders that can take them to the next level. Again, I like to look at London through a business lens. How can we get it back to work? How can we fund this in a right way? How can we look at our transport infrastructure through a business lens? And I've proven here, and I've got people behind me that want to make this a reality. And so I want to get your thoughts right now. Please leave me your questions right now. First of all, tell me, what borough do you live in? What is your biggest challenge? What's the question you want to ask me? Next of all, do you think the current levels of daily knife crime on our streets are acceptable? Just be honest. Do you think it's okay when there's 15 stabbings over the course of a 3-day period, 2 people die? Do you think it's okay when Sved Badzak, 22 years old, is knifed to death when he's going out to get orange juice at Waitrose? Do you think it's okay? Do you think it's okay to abandon our children in that manner? Next, do you think it was fair for the mayor to defund our community centers? And also, do you think it's fair for him to lay off youth workers during his 5-year term? Next, do you think it's fair, or do you think that independent candidates like us should be banned from campaigning, all the while the mayor is out there doing what I call campaigning in disguise, meeting with police and key workers in a non-socially distanced manner, while he tells independent candidates like us that we can't have our volunteers out there leafleting and doing similar things? Do you think that's okay? Let me know. And finally, do you think we need new leadership, new ideas, and to take London in a new direction? Again, I want to get your comments, and literally, these are just piling in here. I really appreciate all of them. Hundreds and hundreds coming through here on the social platforms. By the way, if you haven't yet, please share this link right now with your followers, with everyone on social media. Post it cross-platform if you can. Send it to your email list. Put it on your WhatsApp or your Telegram group and just say, hey, what do you think of this guy's ideas? Would this work in your city? Should we take London to a new direction? And I want to hear from you. So this is the last time. Put your comments in here. Give me a like on the video. I got London Left Hook on Instagram that says, we need schemes for our young people, our young people and our youth clubs, sports clubs, etc. And I agree with you. And I think I've put together a roadmap and really a recipe of how we can be successful in our community centers. I know we can. I've spoken with top people who have already done this. Again, this isn't just some crazy idea. This is something that's actually been done. We can take it 100 times further, and I look forward to doing that. We got Chris on YouTube that says, this guy is talking sense. Give the kids something to do and make them feel valued. What a great point you make there, Chris. You know, these kids know what's up. You know, they really do. You know, if you give them a great opportunity, they will seize that opportunity. But they just need that chance, and they're not been given that chance right now by the current mayor of London. I've got Mills with Mike on Instagram that says, I hope whatever you do will be a show of example for other countries and cities. Thank you so much. We do believe what we do in London will be a roadmap for places like New York City, places like Sao Paulo, places like Tokyo, Hong Kong, Cape Town, Madrid, Paris. We really think we can show people the way out of this lockdown. I've got Steve Fontanos on YouTube that says, realist Londoner for mayor. All right, I appreciate you, Steve, and thank you very much. We try to keep it real here. That's the only way I know how to do it. Scott Frenny on Instagram says, quote, sending love from Australia, telling my London mates to vote for you. Thank you, Scott. And by the way, if you want to volunteer for us, you can do that right now. Go to brianformayor.london/volunteer, enter your information in, but we'll take volunteers from anyone around the world. I just had a private volunteer call with my people that we do every Wednesday, and I said, we want your support from everywhere. I got one of my supporters in Bangladesh who's getting Bangladeshi Londoners to support Brian for mayor. It's incredible, and we appreciate all your support. I got Lima on Instagram says, we need to change and looking forward to the future. It's time for a new beginning. Thank you. I got Adele on Instagram says, great idea for the youth. They definitely need support and a place to go. Thank you, Adele. I appreciate you seeing that we've got a great idea here and we want to move forward with it. We got Swab Banks on Instagram says, this is a powerful move. I love it. Thank you very much. I got Addison on Instagram saying, we need someone with the right mentality, the right attitude, networking. We need a businessman. And Addison, you said it right there. You've got to look at this from a business perspective. The unfortunate thing is Sadiq Khan's never run a business in his life. He doesn't have an entrepreneurial bone in his body. I don't think he'd know how to pick up the phone and call up a CEO of a major company and say, hey, let's make a deal. Let's figure out a way for you to win and our communities to win. And by the way, we need a check for a few £1,000,000 while we're at it. I don't think he knows how to cut those deals. I do, and I'm willing to leverage all of my social platforms to make this happen for London. I think we can get results within weeks of being in office, and I'm excited to do that, and I'm excited that you can see that as well. So thank you. I got Porsche Geezer on Instagram saying simply, vote for Brian. Thank you, Porsche Geezer. And again, if you haven't registered to vote, go to votefirst.london and register, and also come to our website, and we've got more directions on how you can vote as well, and we really appreciate you. I got Pinky Pink on Instagram that said, Brian loves London more than Khan. I believe that's true. I think everybody can see that. I do love this city. I love this city. If you cut me, I think I bleed London. And I do love this city. It's given me so much. The least I can do is serve as mayor and give something back. I mean, that's the way I feel. And I treasure this city, and it means a lot to me. So thank you. I've got Frank Castillo on Instagram says, there's no one else I admire more in this world. Keep on going. Doing what you're doing is a blessing for humanity in this dark moments. God bless you. Thank you, Frank. I appreciate you for recognizing it. It really means a lot. Honestly, I get your energy, or I get energy from your energy. That's the way we keep going here. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. Esther on YouTube says, thank you. Mayor of London, respect Brian, very much supported. Definitely rebuild mind, body, and soul in our communities in London. Thank you, Esther. We've got incredible ideas as well when it comes to investing in our health, our physical and mental well-being. We're going to take this to the next level. We're very excited. Joshua Webb on YouTube says, so many great ideas. Thank you, Joshua. A few more comments here before we go. Again, put a comment in here now. Your last chance to get one in there, or put one in after we're done, and I'll go through in comments. We've got Marie saying, best of luck. We got Paul on Instagram that says, keep doing what you're doing. Breath of fresh air. And I got the Yorkshire Federation on YouTube that says, quote, Sadiq has never come out with any of all of this, what Brian is saying. Sadiq just wants cash, but the cash doesn't end up in the communities, so I guess he's banked it. That's an interesting comment by Yorkshire. What I do know is this. When I was at Wally Foster speaking with the people in the community, they said, there were funds that were earmarked for our communities. We went to City Hall. There was a group of people, and we said to the group, can anyone raise their hand that's received any of these funds? And they said the room went silent. Nobody raised their hand, and the mayor said nothing. Now, I don't know if that story's true, but it's consistent with everything I've heard from our communities. They don't see any financial support or any other type of support from our mayor. And again, we see it manifested in the shocking levels of knife crime. Again, honestly, the mayor makes it easy to campaign because everything he touches, it goes wrong. His record on affordable housing is atrocious. His record on crime is right in front of our faces. He's failed. His record on transport, the TfL goes bankrupt every few months, and he has to get more money from the national government. And what's he doing for the economy? Nothing. All I see are his photo ops. There's no roadmap out. There's no solutions. There's no innovations. When we were facing various tiers of lockdown, I never heard a solution. It was all panic and fear and blame Boris and ask for a bailout. Is this who you want to run your city moving forward? I know it's not. I know it's not, because I talk to you every day on the streets. I meet people on social media. Nobody wants 3 more years of Khan. This is your chance to fire Sadiq Khan on May 6th. You don't get many chances to fire people in your life. This is a chance where you can finally fire the current mayor of London. And I believe that we can take this city to the next level for the next 3 years, but you have to vote. We can't get here by wishing it. We can't get there by voting. We've got 76 days now until the election. It's going to happen on May 6th. If you want to be a part of this campaign, go to brianformayor.london. You can volunteer. You can get swag. You can share our assets. If you want to volunteer, we've got an amazing community that I bring into my inner circle. You spend time with me every single week, and you're going to be a part of this campaign. You're going to be out there sharing digital assets. You're going to be making phone calls. You're going to be on the bus with me. You're going to be at my live events. And of course, you're coming to this inauguration party, which is probably going to be one of the best parties London has ever seen. So you get an invite to that as well. If you want to be a part of this incredible adventure, we are literally changing the landscape of British politics forever with the bus, with the digital campaigning, with the new ideas. Be a part of it. Come to brianformayor.london/volunteer. We're not accepting everybody. You got to show us that you're in, that you're willing to spend time campaigning for us, and that you come from a good place and you understand our policies and you believe in them. But if you do, we would love to have you as part of the team. And so there you go. It's been an incredible episode of Battle Bus Live. I love being here on the bus. We're literally going by the Aquatic Center right now. I love this area of London. I just love this area, you know, where Tower Hamlets meets Newham. We got the Arcelor Tower. We got the Olympic Stadium. You know, it's incredible around here. I see so much opportunity to develop more. I see places we could build affordable housing that just hasn't been done. This is just another area of London that could be thriving right now, but it's just not. And it's not because of politics, because of the two-party system. They argue back and forth, they sign off on each other's failures, and every 4 or 5 years, they give you the illusion of choice. You know it, and I know it. It's time for an independent candidate. It's time for an independent voice. It's time for new ideas. I've put them all out there. I'm doing this transparently and digitally. Let's go to the polls on May 6th, and let's tick that box for Brian Rose. It's a vote for change, a vote for a new type of London. And I'm telling you, we will be leading the world in a matter of no time. We will have, honestly, the best ideas, the best policies, the best people, the best reaction, and I'm super excited to do it. So I just want to say thank you to everybody for the support. Share this video, comment on it, tell your friends and family about us, and of course, register to vote and make it happen. We're really excited to do it. Come to our website, etc. Thank you so much. We're going to be out there still campaigning in the face of fear. We might be arrested, we might be fined, we might be banned, but we're going to do it either way because we think it's important for democracy. Let's make sure free and fair elections take place May 6th. Thank you so much. I will see you next time on Battle Bus Live. Take care.